Hey everyone, welcome back to BrowncoatNerd. Today we're going to be looking at some grips for your Beretta 80 series or Cheetahs, specifically a set of LOK grips out of Michigan. So I have heard about LOK grips for quite a while. I've been familiar with them, mostly because I remember they were the first, if not still like the only grip company to specifically make grips for the Beretta 92S. Those have a heel located mag release compared to your typical mag release. And as a surplus collector, I thought that was kind of cool that a modern grip company was making some grips for some old military surplus. Now, since then, I've gotten onto the website and looked around, and I feel like I have found my people. So not only do they make a lot of grips for very common military and police surplus handguns, but they also make some freaking awesome quote-unquote nerd grips. If you want some Cobra Command grips for your handgun, they've got them. If you want to go with that G.I. Joe style. Also, I remember hearing about them because I believe they were the first company to make grips for the Jericho 941 in the style of Spike Spiegel's 941 grips on the anime Cowboy Bebop. So, definitely very kind of like-minded people into surplus and into nerd stuff. They even have a pistol stand that has the Sea of Space Cowboy and the silhouette of the swordfish on there and everything. So, first off, they seem to be like an awesome company. Like if I were to make grips, these are the kinds of things I'd like to be doing. But just as an example, some of the grips they do offer for my fellow surplus collectors, and these grips are made out of G10. They do offer some that are like in brass and aluminum, but typically for the surplus style pistols, they'll only be available in G10, which is fine with me. But they make grips for the CZ52. The freaking CZ52. I was blown away by that. Obviously, they make grips for the Beretta 85. They also make them for the 84. The 92S, as I'd mentioned previously. The Star BM, which if you guys know me, my Star BM is by far one of my most favorite surplus pistols, so much it makes me stutter. And then also, like I mentioned, the Jericho 941. So, just wanted to point that out. And depending on what gun you have, what model of gun you have, they may or may not have multiple styles of grips. So this particular instance on the Beretta 85, they have what's available called the thin checkered or the crosscut. Now these are the thin checkered that we have here, and I believe these are the same options for the 84, the double stack version as well. They also offer them in quite a wide variety of different colors, which is one thing that I'm sure surplus collectors are a little wary of because you don't want, really flashy looking grips on your old surplus. Some might say this is a little loud. I do like it. But typically they will offer the grips in all black as well if you want to go a little more subtle. And from what I've seen, the black and dark red grips, those kind of look more like a laminate wood. So that's something also to keep in mind. For whatever reason, I really wanted the black and dark gray. It's not black and white. It's black and dark gray grips, and I could not figure it out until I looked at my little Chihuahua's face. I've got a little black Chihuahua. He's getting quite a bit of gray in the face. And I realized this is basically my puppy dog's face right there. But I digress. So, like I said, these are made out of G10. I mostly do surplus stuff, so I'm not too savvy to the modern tacticalness. But I looked into a little bit exactly what G10 is, and basically it's just kind of fiberglass mesh with an epoxy, kind of like sounded like carbon fiber, but instead of carbon, it's fiberglass. These are commonly used in gun grips. Obviously, I'm sure you've seen a ton of G10 style grips. You will also see these very popular for knife scales, and also these are used for circuit boards. So, circling back around to the nerd side of me. Like I said, these are the full checkered, the thin grips, and let me tell you, these are quite a bit thinner than the original grips. Now, the original grips, I did throw them back on here. It was the late matte plastic style grips for the F. And those measured right around 30 millimeters. It kind of changed from the upper section to the lower section. So anywhere from like 29.9 to I think like 30.5. So right around 30 millimeters is how thick the original ones were basically throughout. I have not yet measured these. So let me pull out the cheapest digital calipers I can find on Amazon. And we'll get some measurements. And as you can see, kind of in between where the screws are is the thinnest section. So well, let's start at the screws. Let's build up to the tension there. So right at the screws, we're right about 29.8. So roughly the same as the original grips, which should be no surprise because you kind of need to keep that original grip profile if you're going to be using the original screws without modifying them. But right in the middle there, we are about 25.4, so a little less than 25.5 millimeters. Quite a bit thinner than the original grips. I do have my 85BB. Also failed to mention, this is kind of the first in a little mini series I'm going to be doing on putting grips onto my Beretta 80 series. These are the only LOK grips so far that I'm planning on doing, going different routes with the other ones. But I will say right out the gate, these are my favorite grips for the Beretta 80 series. So I've got my 85BB that has the original Beretta wood grips. Spoiler alert, you'll be seeing a video on these shortly. These are about the same thickness as the original ones. They are about a millimeter thicker. But you can see right there, get a rough idea of how much these LOK grips thin out the 85. Now, a lot of people talk about the 85, how it's not much thinner than the 84, which is the double stack version. With the original grips, it is a little bit thinner. It's not much thinner. But these really kind of give you that advantage or a reason for getting the single stack version. And also, I can only imagine how thin that will make the double stack Cheetah, the 84, if I were to throw a set of these on there. So that's got my mind going. Don't have an 84 yet. We'll see. This gun I had actually originally purchased to be a concealed carry. I thought I'd kind of keep my intentions of collecting surplus along with my, personal carry gun. Thought this wasn't a horrible candidate. It is in 380, which is kind of the bare minimum, in my opinion, that you should go. And then also, it's not polymer. It at least does have an aluminum frame, so it's not too heavy, but you can definitely go lighter. And then the big thing that bugged me was the fact that there's really not any night sight, tritium sight options. And in my opinion, for a carry gun, you really do want that on there. So I bought this with the intent to carry it. Shot it a few times. I never really had any issues with this gun, but I didn't feel like I was as accurate as I was with a lot of my other guns. So I never really ended up carrying that gun, and I eventually got a Glock 43. When I took this gun, or the Glock 43, out to shoot for the first time, I went ahead and took this out too. And lo and behold, all of a sudden, I was shooting the Beretta really well. So definitely kind of kept the gun in my rotation. It's renewed my love for it. Like I said recently, there's that guy. So I have been shooting this a lot more probably than I ever have before. And I was getting the classic wood grips for the 85. Got a whole other direction I'm going with my 81. And I figured, you know what, since this is still occasionally carried by me, I might as well go with a modern, more tactical grip option. A grip option that actually has a use other than just looking different or cool. Now I will say, this texture on here, it is super grippy. It feels really nice in the hand. Definitely much more grip than the original plastic grips. And like I said earlier, it's a little bit thinner. I don't know. If the original grips, let me get my train of thought together here. The original grips, I feel like, was like the perfect thickness. Maybe you could go just a hair thinner. And this goes beyond that. I'm not going to say they're too thin. But like when I put these grips on there, I was shocked at how different it made this feel. Not necessarily a bad thing, but it definitely does give it a different feel. It's much thinner. And one thing I kind of like too is it has a little less bulk in the size when I am carrying this. Not much, but I feel like it is enough where I kind of notice. While we're on the topic of bulk, I might as well point out, I just figured what the heck, I might as well measure the grips to let you know if there's a difference there. So the original plastic grips with their little metal washers in there, weighed those. Those came to 0.9 ounces. Then I threw the LOK grips on the scale. These particular grips do come with an O-ring washer to pin in there. So I went ahead and added those as well so we got the full weight change. And the LOK grips are a little bit heavier. Those came in at 1.7 ounces. So not a big difference, but there is a small difference. Once again, depending on what grip or for different models that you can get from LOK, may come with screws, may come with washers. It might not come with any hardware at all. It all depends on what gun you're getting those grips for. And in the description, it will tell you what, if any, new hardware comes with that specific grip set. So just to point that out. Like I said, this is the light gray and black grips. They come in quite a few different colors. These did run about $68. Out of the grips I got for my Berettas, these, I guess, are the most expensive ones, but only by about $8. I think the grips I got for my 81 were the most expensive. Now, out of like what I got for that money, I feel like these are hands down the winner. Huge improvement in the feel of the gun. The grip profile is completely changed for the better. I personally love this kind of white and black look. But overall, I am extremely happy with these grips. Another cool thing about LOK grips, I was poking around on their website, and if you have a gun that you want them to make grips for, you just email them, and they'll kind of create a list, and once it gets to so many people on that list, they will go ahead and make those grips. So I did shoot them an email saying, hey, I think you guys should make some grips for the CZ82/83. I know I personally would love some grips for those guns. A lot of the guns that the kind of surplus guns that they make these grips for is one thing I'm really happy about. Is you can get aftermarket grips from it, they're typically just wood that don't really add any advantage as to, it fitting your hand better or getting more grip out of it. Whereas the G10 grips, they're not just for looks. They truly do have a big advantage. So I didn't want to just go with the wood grips on my CZ83. I would love a set of these, so I emailed them. Kind of told them, hey, I left a positive review on your website. Here's an insider's note. I don't know if it's done randomly or if it's every time. If you buy some grips from them, leave them a review and add a picture with your review. I know in my case, I did get emailed back a coupon for $10 off my next grip purchase. And if you buy a set of these grips, I can promise you it's only going to be a matter of time before you buy another set for another one of your handguns. They're really nice quality. So definitely take advantage of that. But so I emailed them, said, hey, really happy with these grips. Would love some grips for my CZ83. Left you guys a good review on the website. Now, I don't typically do this. I do very little, if any, self-promoting for the YouTube channel. But I don't know what came over me. I did go ahead and mention, I was like, hey, just so you guys know, you will also be getting a positive review for my YouTube channel. And I did throw in a link. I didn't really expect anything to come of that. So, full disclosure, we will be getting some more videos on the LOK grips. Like I said, I did purchase these ones. They did contact me and asked me if I'd be interested in reviewing some of their other grips and stuff. And so, I got my first, freebie stuff that I get a review for you guys. So, very exciting for me, especially when it's from a company that is going to be buying this stuff anyways. Like, LOK grips, if you're watching, I really appreciate it. But everything I got from them, I got 2 sets of grips and a pistol stand, which I am very excited about reviewing and looking forward to showing you guys. I would have bought all that stuff full price, no problem at all anyway, so it's definitely a win-win. I do look forward to coming out and getting those videos to you guys, because these are my favorite grips on the Beretta 80 series that I have so far. These are not even my favorite LOK grips. Can't wait to show you those puppies. Also, while we're on the subject of the Beretta 80 series. The screws on the F and the FS, these aren't too bad. These are kind of standard flathead screws, but I will point out that the earlier models, you can see these are nickered up pretty bad. Now, these were nickered up a little bit when I got them. I may have added some to that. They're very narrow. I found this little screwdriver set on Amazon. I can't remember how much. It wasn't too expensive, but it's specifically like a gunsmith screwdriver set. I believe it specifically mentions for Colt. But basically, they're very fine screwdrivers. And I took the thinnest one, which I believe was this one. Yeah, and I still actually had to file just a little bit on that guy to get it to fit on these older screws. So all the messing up there's before I got a proper size screwdriver to put on there. So if you have one of these older, the original through the BB series of 80 series pistols, definitely recommend getting one of those screwdriver sets, or just find a screwdriver that you can file down, because they're pretty fine. You don't want to end up with ugly screws like this. And I purchased a total of 3 different freaking screw sets to replace these with, and every single freaking time they send me the wrong screws. They're not even 80 series screws, so that's annoying. But anyways, just so you know, you definitely want a very fine screwdriver for those older cheetahs. So that is it, guys. That is my first review on the 80 series grips, little mini series if you want to call it, that I'll be bringing you. Also, my first review on the LOK grips. I've got 2 more sets of grips, like I said, to show you guys. I'm very excited about that. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching. As always, stay safe and stay shiny.